Hi, it's Richard Moore from Racing Profits Guides, and I'm up here at Mount House Stables with James Given, the trainer, and we're just going to talk a bit about James himself and some of the courses that he sends horses to. Give us a bit of an insight of what a trainer looks for when going to some of these courses, particularly the all-weather courses that we cover. Nice to meet you, James.
Morning.
How are you doing?
Very well, thanks, and you?
Good. Yeah, very good. What brought you into horse racing in the first place? Let's talk a bit about your history.
Well, as has been well documented, I'm a vet, and I went to work for Mark Johnston as his vet and assistant, and over the 3 years I was there, very much became more involved in the racing side than the veterinary side. Over the 3 years. I was lucky enough to win a scholarship, the Alex Scott Memorial Scholarship, and spend a month in Dubai.
Okay.
And when I got back from there, then it was the decision to be made, are you going to go training or vetting? And thought I'd have a go at training, and that was about 15 years ago, and I'm still in business. So
okay, I was going to say, when was that?
1998.
And you came straight to Willoughby, or did you?
Willerton.
You had a spell at Willerton, sorry. You had a spell at Wolverhampton first, did you?
5 months at Wolverhampton to start off with. Yeah. Richard Muddle was very helpful. He made it a doable to train there and rent some boxes. And then he very kindly as well let me out of my contract to stay there. I'd signed a contract for a year to be able to move to Willerton in April '99, and have been here ever since.
And so you've got this yard, and you've got another yard down in Hemswell village itself.
Yeah. This yard is very much more for the young horses, the 2-year-olds, and the other yards for the older horses.
And we've had a look at some of the facilities here. Obviously, you've had a great success. You'd say more all-weather, or is it across all the flat?
I think it's horses for courses. You know, we have done well on the all-weather, but I think we've also done well on the turf. You know, we've had some
very nice winners,
high-level successes and good quality handicaps and group races. I think it's just trying to find what's the best race course for each horse.
And what are some of your highlights then of your career so far?
Well, early on we had some nice, good handicappers. I Cry For You won the Cambridgeshire, Hugs Dancer won the Ebor, the Chester Cup, and then we've had a number of group winning horses: Jessica's Dream, Wonder's Dream, Summitville, Lady Gloria, Dandino, Indian Days. You know, Indian Days was one example of a nice horse. He won the Bosphorus Cup in Turkey 2 years in a row, Group 2 in Turkey 2 years in a row. You know, not just domestically, but internationally as well.
Okay, James, can we talk a bit about Lingfield now then? Obviously another polytrack course. I think the big difference between the other two polytracks and Lingfield, or all three of the all-weather courses, is the undulations there. Do you find a type of horse does well at Lingfield?
I think you've got to have a horse who's settled, who can settle rather, and then can accelerate. It's used to being ridden for a sharp turn of foot, and also is, pretty balanced, because, as you say, the undulations. I always think of Lingfield as a bit like a giant D, with the flat of the D being the home straight, and then there's an almost constant turn. I mean, there are straight bits of it, but coming round and back down to the home turn, turning in, and so many races are won and lost on that turning in. You know, if you're in a bad position, or you don't hold your ground, or you're not balanced, and you can't deal with the accelerating as you come downhill and then swinging quite sharply left-handed
into the home straight.
You know, you're going to lose a crucial length or two at the wrong time.
It is the spot that you tend to see quite a bit of trouble in running, as horses slow down, some speed up, and you know, you do try to get a bit.
And you know, we can all remember races where someone nips up the far rail, someone comes wide and swings round everyone, you know, and you can set your stall out to be going up the, you know, again, the perceived wisdom. And I think possibly the bend throws the horses into the middle of the track. That if your plan is to come up the inside rail, the far rail as you look from the stands, you know, that'll be the time they all stay on that rail. Or your plan is to swing out to the middle of the track, that's the time they swing further than you want, and you get pushed wider.
You out further,
So you do need a lot of luck at Lingfield. I mean, some jockeys do ride it very well and better than others, and have better success there. But I think it's a track that you need a lot of luck as well, more than any other all-weather tracks.
And the sprint courses as well, they're the 6 furlongs straight into a bend, isn't it? Straight out of the stalls. That's downhill, 7 furlongs downhill as well. Do you think that's what makes it such a sharp track?
And the 5 furlongs as well. Yes, it is. And the draw's very critical there. You know, you're drawn wide, just straight into a left-hand turn. You know, drawn 10. You know, it's just geometry.
Can't get across,
geometry tells you, or if you do get across, you've almost invariably done used up too much petrol early, and then you're certainly not going to finish. It's a track that doesn't suit front runners really, because of the nature of, even if you think, right, we're really going to stretch them, it's a very fine judgment of pace to be able to go fast enough
and not burn
to
too
stretch
much
that.
energy off.
Yeah, exactly. But yes, it requires a horse really over any trip, I think, that can settle and have a turn of foot.
So you've had Royal Bayesian, who's done well at Wolverhampton, done well on the fibre sand, and has won a race at Lingfield.
I believe he has. Yeah, he has.
I think he has won a race at Lingfield as well. So what sort of horse would you be looking for then? A bigger galloping type there, or a shorter, a nippy type that's going to
more nippy type really? I think.
Position,
yeah, that has. You don't. Generalisations, but generally the sort of long rangy galloping type probably doesn't do as well at Lingfield as he might do at Kempton on the wider track or Southwell. But you need a horse that can, have perhaps more powerful back end and a greater burst of speed. When whoosh at the end of the race, and who's quickening the best.
And the longer races, the distance races that they have at Lingfield, again, you've got the uphill climb at the end of the finish, up to the back of the back straight. Do you think that requires more stamina in a horse, or is it just the?
No, I don't. The climb
it's not
there,
that punishing.
I don't think on the all-weather track. I think it is on the turf track. If you think that runs out the side, I know that's not point at this moment. That climb's a lot higher, but I don't think the climb is particularly significant because it's not run at an even pace.
No.
That it's again, even the mile and a half races, even the mile and quarter race, which starts in front of the stands. They go and get their position, and then
they do what they do at Wolverhampton, slow it down a bit.
Yeah, and they don't generally improve. You don't see horses changing their position.
No.
Once they get into that. I know this is not relevant in many ways to describing this. We're talking about a track abroad. I was lucky enough to go to Flemington, take a horse to the Melbourne Cup. Flemington has a long straight turn, a bit of a straight, and then it's just constantly on the turn for about 5 furlongs or so. And I walked that track after the Saturday before the Melbourne Cup on the Tuesday, and they'd had 8 or 9 races, and there wasn't a single hoof print more than 2 horses off the fence, and that's a little bit
tight.
Yeah, once you they have a longer run in there, in fairness, but once you get into your position at Lingfield and you're on that turn all the time, it's very, very hard to improve your position. You accept the position you've got until the rush at the end of the race, because it's always on the turn. If you start to spin wide to try and improve your position, no different to Chester in many ways, you're using too much petrol. You think of the 200 metres at the Olympics, how much further round the track it seems lane 8 starts compared to lane 1.
That's right, yeah.
And they all travel the same distance. So if you're out in lane 4 or 5, you have got so much further to go.
So much further, yeah, definitely. And what jockeys do you think, because obviously you use a range of jockeys to ride your horses, do you think there's any jockeys who ride Lingfield particularly well?
No, I've never really thought that. I think the people who don't ride it regularly
struggle
perhaps
a bit more,
find it more difficult to find the judgment of the pace and so on.